is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee.
Flags. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick and Michael Cindric. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
And hello again, everybody. Welcome in. I know you're sitting there thinking they should never put this guy on TV. And I don't deep down disagree with you. I got a face for radio, but you know what? We're going to make this work. And I want to thank the folks at Main Street Media Television for everything they've done to try to make this work. We're going to have terrific shows every day from 4 to 6 p.m. Today, we will open the phones. I'll go ahead and say this around 5:25. I'll give out the phone number real quickly so people will know it. It is 615-994-6998. Don't call until around 5:25. I'll give you kind of a hint to that whole thing. Again, 615-994-6998. That is the phone number when we get into calls. Now, let's call roll. And let's begin up on the plateau in Cookeville, Tennessee, and say hello to Coach Watson Brown. Watson, how are you?
George, I'm doing great. How are you doing? It's been a long time, man. You missed me?
Been a while. I have missed you.
You've missed me?
But my gut feeling is deep down you have not missed me.
Oh, yeah, I've missed you, but I will admit this could be tough. 2 hours a day looking at that face straight on might get a little hard for me, but we'll give it our best shot.
So let me ask you this. Okay, yeah. Did you see the Open?
I know what's coming. Yeah.
Right. The photo of you was taken like in 1973.
No, George.
That?
That's 1986. That was
really
that looks like the first home game that we had at Vanderbilt in 1986. You coach at Vanderbilt for 5 years and it will age you quite a bit.
It's like being president. So you're saying you didn't look as good then? I mean, at the end.
I think I looked a little more like my son, to tell you the truth, but no, there's been some changes since 1986. Yes.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
So are you aware there's a third person in this deal?
I am very aware of that. Yes.
Okay. We say hello to Father Ryan Grad and let's see, Ave Maria down in Florida graduate as of about 6 weeks ago. We bring Billy Derrick in here. Billy, how are you?
George, I'm doing great. Ave Maria University. You got it right.
Okay.
I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah. What'd you think I was going to call it?
Oh, I don't know.
Catholic U?
I thought that was going to be a shot there.
So at some point here, you will be responsible for update material.
Yes, sir.
Now, you've got to realize that Watson and I tend to get a little cynical during the update. I think I started it. I don't think that you know, the cynicism was necessarily Watson's bag, but I think once he saw that that's where I was going to take it, there's a lot of it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You ready, George?
What are these things behind you?
So behind me, we got the list of people on the show today, George. Mack Brown. Watson might know that guy.
Yeah.
Mark McGhee to talk a little Preds hockey. And then Michael Cindric, or a little intern for the Plaster Show.
He's not an intern.
He's going to join us towards the end. So
he absolutely will. Watson, do you have advice for Billy?
Yes. I would say, Billy, I don't know that your skin is tough enough, but it better toughen up. Because, believe me, buddy, you're going to catch it. Now, I'll be by your side most of the time.
I know that.
But the guy sitting next to you, He'll kind of lose it here and there. Just get prepared for it.
Watson, he didn't like it. We did a mock show a couple of days ago, and I called it the little boy table.
Yeah, we didn't have any more of that. Shut that down pretty quick.
Gracious, George.
So
That's
let me
not a
ask you
good
this.
start, man.
No, I know it didn't. What do you like? I mean, what do you see that you either like or don't like?
I like everything. I told you the hardest thing for me, Billy's got a nice face and young, and it's going to be tough just staring at you. I'll be glad when guests come on, and at least I can kind of look that way a little bit.
Yeah.
That's going to be the hard thing for me. You told the absolute honest truth when you said I have a radio face. You told the truth. I appreciate you doing that. We got that out of the way real quick like.
This isn't going to go very well, is it? I think it's time to do the dadgum update. What do you think?
Let's do it.
So the update material will be at the bottom of the screen, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Item number 1.
Item number 1, George, and this update is brought to you by the Justin Tucker team. It's brought to you by those people that are proven to be trusted with your most personal asset. The Justin Tucker team, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty. Call 615-906-8458.
Okay, so you've learned very quickly you have to have sponsors.
Oh, yeah. Learn
to
that
get
from you,
paid.
George.
No question.
George, on Saturday, the Predators announced they had re-signed Philip Forsberg to an 8-year, $68 million contract extension just days before he was set to become an unrestricted free agent, and he's now under contract through 2030. So we may have just seen the news that made Philip Forsberg a Pred for life.
Watson, they had no choice in this deal. They had to make this happen.
They did have a choice to me, though, George, and I'm going to be a little cynical right out the gate. Why, if you know you're going to do this and you're going to put that kind of money out there, why don't you do this earlier? Why don't you do giving them a shot in the arm a little bit as they jumped into the playoffs? That's all I wonder.
I'm in total agreement with you. It was ridiculous that it took this long. But let me say this. David Poyle was not going to be the general manager of this team much longer if this thing had gone south. I believe that he would have been kicked upstairs into sort of a Pat Riley, the godfather of the team, but there would have been a new general manager. I can't prove that, but I believe that.
Well, but I don't ever think it got there because I think David Poyle planned on signing him. I don't think he was going to let him get away. I know we went back and forth during the season with this, but the way this has gone down, the years they gave him, the money they gave him, George, I don't think they were going to let him get away. So I'm not sure within it was as big a deal as it was to all of us.
Item number 2.
Item number 2, George, the All-Star Game rosters are set, and that'll be next Tuesday in Los Angeles. Quick trivia, George. This will be the second time an All-Star Game has been played in Dodger Stadium. When was the last time Dodger Stadium hosted the Midsummer Classic?
Okay, I remember it because James Rodney Richard, who was an incredible pitcher before he had the stroke, I want to say 1980.
Yes, sir. You got it right, George. You got that one right. Ken Griffey Sr. was the MVP in that game.
Wow.
Little trivia for you. But
yeah,
more importantly, George, 5 Atlanta Braves have been selected.
Who are they?
To the All-Star team, and that is Ronald Acuna Jr. starting in the outfield. The reserves, Travis.
In fairness, probably shouldn't be there given how little playing time he's had coming back from the injury.
We'll see if he actually gets to start. But you also got Travis d'Arnaud, Dansby Swanson, William Contreras, and also Max Fried. And George, William Contreras is going to start over Bryce Harper in the DH slot. And the Contreras brothers will be the first set of brothers to start the All-Star game together since Roberto and Sandy Alomar in 92.
Wow. Watson, my team is looking good.
No, they are, George. They're hot, man. And you got the Mets rolling in here tonight, right? And it start tonight. They could go into the break with the lead. I'm telling you now. But you better get the Mets now. They'll start getting more healthy. And when they get healthy, I still think they're a credible force. I knew that was coming. Thank you very much.
Watson, take a good look at this.
Yeah.
You like that?
I'm a Braves fan, but my gracious, you just put it in our faces so much. And this is going to make it worse because now I'm just going to have to sit here and look at it all the time. And that's a killer because I'm a Braves fan. Billy, you'll get used to it. I'm telling you, you will.
He's a Braves fan.
We all are Braves fans, but you kill us.
Oh, deal with it. What do we got for number 3?
Number 3, more baseball, George. Dodger Stadium concession workers are threatening to go on strike ahead of this All-Star game. And the quote said, "Unite here." The union representing roughly 1,500 food and beverage at Dodger Stadium announced on Monday that 99% of those workers voted to authorize a strike that could begin at any time.
Watson, I'd love to be sympathetic, and I don't want to say anything here because I don't really know what the issues are. But it would serve Major League Baseball right after they screwed Atlanta out of the All-Star game if this happened.
Yeah, I just hate it for the fans, for baseball.
Yeah.
There's ways to get things done. We seem to be in a society now that wants to take the most magnified way to do it, George, and everybody pays for it when you do that. I'm just disappointed. I hope this doesn't happen.
Yeah, I don't either deep down. Item 4.
Item number 4, George, the final item. PGA Tour is under DOJ investigation. An antitrust probe has been launched as the league battles with the upstart Live Golf. And, I mean, this will never end. I don't think this is ever going to end, George. The PGA Tour has been imposed by yet another wrinkle to their plans. The DOJ is investigating the PGA Tour and whether anti-competitive practices have been used against the rival golf league, according to the Wall Street Journal.
Watson, I know we're going to discuss this on Wednesday as sort of a topic, but if I'm the PGA Tour commissioner, number one, I'm a little bit concerned by how many players are jumping, because clearly what is the message that's being sent is something's not quite right. I don't pretend to know what it is, but something's not quite right there.
I think you're right, but I look more toward the other side. I think the money that is being thrown around. Did you see where Bryson DeChambeau said that he went with the tour and got $125 million to do it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
$125 million.
Yeah.
This is magnified the AFL and the NFL. That's what it is, and they'll end up being a merger before it's over. You watch. There's going to be some form of a merger before this is over. But I just don't think the LIV is going away. I just don't think it is.
How do you merge golf, though?
I think that maybe, they're already trying to merge with the European Tour a little bit, and they call it the DP something. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Some way they'll all be together. For the PGA to say these certain guys that went with the LIV can't play in the Open, to me, or they couldn't play in the U.S. Open. I just think that's the start of this. That's the stuff I think that'll end up going away, George. And they got to let those guys play, to me.
Okay, I think we've got about a minute before we go to the break. Watson, if you'll notice, you and Billy have a little bit of a tighter shot in the videos. Yeah. And I'm a little bit farther back, and you think that's a positive.
I think the further back where we can't see that beautiful face of yours, the further you are away from that screen. And just look at me now, George. 10 years from now, you're going to look a lot like this. Just understand that. You're going to catch me, buddy. And Billy has no clue.
Look at that skin tone on George, though. I mean, that's a beautiful skin tone.
Sort of the olive Greek look, if you will. Okay. So I've taken a little bit of abuse, haven't really appreciated it from Watson. I'll fire back at some point, but the good news is his own brother is going to take over, and that may not be good for Watson. North Carolina football coach Mack Brown is in the on-deck circle. This is going to be fun. Anytime we ever had him on during our radio life, it was tremendous stuff. I may ask him one question, and then Watson will basically take over. It's the two best brothers going outside of the Contrerases, who are both in the Major League Baseball All-Star game. Mack Brown coming up next. This is the George Plaster Show on Main Street TV.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you. When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour. It was just a few cocktails.
I've done sports. I've been a photographer. I've been an editor. I've been a producer. I've been a reporter. I've been an anchor. I mean, I've done every job you could possibly imagine this. And so sports was a way to have fun and be different. But then I realized community is where it's at, and community and local and doing places and going, seeing people. And, sports, you go to a stadium, everybody celebrates and they go their different ways. But community-wise, there's so much going on.
We are back, and in a moment, we'll meet up with University of North Carolina head football coach Mack Brown. And yes, he is Watson Brown's brother, but Billy decided to butt in, and it's important stuff.
Yes, it is, George. We've got a little live read here, the Sumner Funeral live read. The 4 o'clock hours brought to you by Sumner Funeral and Cremation, sharing their family with yours in time of need. And now with 2 convenient locations in Gallatin and Hendersonville, and online at SumnerFuneral.com. Sumner Funeral and Cremation, traditional, affordable, and dignified.
Okay, the resume on Mack Brown starts with a national title at the University of Texas. And for all of the people who think that's easy, I haven't noticed anybody else in a while winning a national title down in Austin. That's first up. Secondly, he's gone back to North Carolina for a second stint, got them to the Orange Bowl about 18 months ago, has done a terrific job there. At one point was an ESPN color analyst, and I thought he was terrific at that. So, Mack, first of all, welcome. Give me your reaction to Watson being on television.
Well, Watson's been on television before, so he can handle that. It's he and his wife Brenda are kind of like Sally and I. Sally, my wife, says you can only have one ham per family, and Watson's the ham. So I think that's kind of what the Brown boys are. We've been living this for a long time. But congratulations on your guys' new show and being on TV, and you do such a great job spreading the word for people about college sports, and especially college football right now. And it's so absolutely crazy out here. We need people like you who have spent a lifetime in this craziness to explain it to people, because it's really confusing.
I'm confused. So I'm not sure I'm the one to do it, but Watson, he's your brother. This will be me kind of shutting up and letting you all go at it.
Good. You got a question to start, or you want me to go?
You know, I will ask this right at the start of it. Mac, is this still as much fun as it was when you got your first head coaching job?
George, it's probably more fun because I know what I'm doing. And now it's about the kids. And when you first get started, you're all over the place and you're really not sure, and you got problems every day and you're miserable trying to solve them. And then you end up realizing that when it is about the kids, and it sounds corny, but you can actually change young people's lives. You still got to win to do it, but that makes it more fun. So these things that we're talking about with name, image, and likeness and transfer portal and realignment are all distractions, but you still got to go back to what you got in it for, and that's your love of the game, the staff that you love, that you all, the bond like you and Watson have now on your show every day, like we have with the staff members here. It's fun. And trying to make a difference in somebody's lives. And very few people ever get to make a difference in somebody's life. And George, the first year here, we had a friend's son kill himself up in the mountains of North Carolina. And he was 19 years old. He was a freshman at Appalachian State. He was doing great. Got himself at a bad spot and actually shot himself in the face and committed suicide. And I ran home and I told our team that you can't do it, man. It's selfish. If you get to that tough spot, talk to somebody, talk to us, talk to counselors, but don't go that far. Don't take that extra step. And we actually had a young guy come up in my office right after that and say, "Coach, I was on a bridge 2 nights ago and I was thinking about killing myself. And thank you. I need help, and I need help fast." And now he's a screenwriter for Disney, and he's doing great. So if coming back to coaching, if nothing else mattered, George, from my standpoint, I feel like maybe we helped that young man on a day where he was really struggling to continue to go forward.
Wow. That truly is what it's all about. Watson, take it from here.
Mac, I was going to, of course, start with all this conference realignment, but I'm going to go second with that, because one of the things I wanted to ask you that bothers me is a little bit about what you're just talking about. This NIL thing, and where these kids now can make money from this and that, and from doing this on campus, that in town, whatever it is, really bothers me. I know that it's fair to the kids. I get that. The one thing as a coach that scares me is what I'm afraid, because everybody I'm talking to right now is saying, first thing they ask you is, well, how much money am I going to make? And to me, when I was coaching as a head coach, I can remember vividly at UAB, it was more about relationships when recruiting and then getting the kid to come. When we were at UAB, Mac, we couldn't beat Mississippi State or Southern Miss or Memphis or any of those schools with just our facilities. It was relationships, I thought, that we would develop in recruiting and then carry them right through the kids' playing time. I worry about that, Mac, going away. And do you have the same feelings I do about that? And am I on the right track here, or am I just thinking about a guy that's been out for 6 years now?
Watson, I think you're on the right track. The thing I have realized, there are some really good things about NIL. And you think that an artist on your campus can go sell his or her art and make money. A musician on your campus as a student can go play in a bar or a concert and make money. So the athlete should have a right to use their skills to make money. They're learning how to market themselves. They're learning how to make money. They're learning how to pay taxes at a very young age. They're learning how to step up for charities. Travis Shaw, highly recruited young defensive lineman yesterday, grew up in the housing project. His first opportunity with NIL was to go back and help that housing project. Sam Howell, our quarterback last year, his first opportunity with NIL was to feed underprivileged kids in this county. So there's a lot of positive things. The second part of that is we just had a young guy get cancer named Tylee Kraft, and he was able to go sell T-shirts, and there's a golf tournament for him so they can make money to help with that cost some. So those things are positive. What we did, Watson, is the leadership didn't have any guidelines. So we're the NFL with the certain amount of kids with no guidelines. We've got no guardrails. So Tom Brady can make a certain amount of money because of his accomplishments based on the NFL. We've got a young guy that can go right now to a car dealership and sign some pictures and sign some autographs, and they can pay him whatever. They can pay him $1 million just for an appearance. So I think the concept was right. And I do think that it's good that these young people have opportunities, but now we've got to put guidelines in place so it's not about them. The other thing, Watson, that's different is we hear about all this, whether it's 9.5 million or 8 million, or we hear about all that. 85 to 90% of your team's not going to make any money, or if they do, it'll be really insignificant. You're talking about the superstars. The thing I'm worried about is twofold. Number one, they say you're not supposed to use it as an incentive in recruiting. Well, it's being used for an incentive in recruiting. So that really concerns you that young guys are getting money in exchange for you coming to their school. And that's not what it was set up to do. And it is outside the university, but still those are incentives by boosters. The second part that I worry about even more, Watson, is we're seeing young guys being tampered with on campuses and them getting opportunities with other schools to make more money. So the player on your team now is getting a better opportunity and going somewhere else. So to me, we've got to get some guidelines like the NFL, and maybe it ends up being an offensive tackle's worth this much and a quarterback's worth this much, because the ones that are getting paid are basically professional players. We have no more amateurism with them. But the second part I'm more concerned about is we have a great player. We had 2 players on our team that people tried to get to leave because they were really good players, and both of them came to tell me, and it's hard to catch whoever's trying to get them. I told them if a player texts you or a coach texts you or calls you, you screenshot it and get it to me, and I'm going to turn them in. But those are the 2 things I'm most concerned about, because the transfer portal makes them eligible immediately, and somebody can buy them off your campus and they go and get a better deal. And that's not the way this stuff's supposed to be set up.
Mack, is there any thought in your mind where everybody could make a certain amount when they come to your school, and then the big guys get the big bucks, but everybody, when you walk in, here's what you will make? Are we headed in any way in that direction?
Yes, I think that's absolutely where it's going, and I think it's headed that way quickly. First of all, Watson, since you've been out, now we get a cost of attendance for every player. So let's say that's $10,000 a year. And then the Supreme Court said if you're going to pay them for name, image, and likeness, you've got to pay them for academics. So next year we'll give them $6,000 for academics. So above their scholarship, whatever cost of attendance changes some, but let's say it's $10,000. So for above their scholarship, they're going to get $16,000 to start with. And you and I got $15 a month. I know that's a long time ago, but that's what we got. And now Bubba Cunningham, our athletics director 3 years ago, said, let's give them all $50,000 when they graduate. Let's use it as an incentive and give them a bonus as they're getting ready to go out in the real world. Some teams now, and I think they're the ones that are doing it the smartest, are paying them $50,000 up front per year. and then allowing them to use their own opportunities if they're superstars to get some opportunities somewhere else. And then a lot of people aren't talking about it in recruiting because they know what they're going to get up front. And to me, that's where we're headed. But if you pay $50,000 for 85 scholarships for 4 years, every year you're talking about over $4 million. So that's a lot of money. And that's why people are talking about realignment. It's all about the money because things are getting more costly every day.
Yeah. And Mack, tell me if you do this. I've thought a lot about this. I would, if I was still doing this, I would not let my assistant coaches be involved in this at all. They couldn't talk about money when they're recruiting a kid. Is that what you do? Is that kind of the trend? Because I think that's when you're going to get jealousy in the locker room. Everything. I just think it would be better if that coach, when he talks to the kid, is talking to him about being a kid and what you're going to do with our football team, what I can do for you when you get here as a football player, and stay out of the money piece. Is that happening, or are other schools letting their assistants get right in the middle of this?
A lot of schools are talking about it. The rule is that you can't. You have to have an outside collective, and that group of people in that collective are the ones that can talk to your players, and they have to go through them. I don't know how many players on our team are getting some type of opportunities through NIL. I really don't. I've got an idea because 2 of them came to ask me about transferring, but I don't know how many. I'm not supposed to know how many, and I'm not supposed to know how much. Now, what you can say is for players on your team, if a young man is an offensive tackle and he is talking about NIL opportunities, he can talk to someone on your team who's in that position and ask them what their situation is.
Yeah.
And the player can tell him. But again, I've told our players, and it hurts us some in recruiting. We've lost some players lately because we won't talk about it and we're going by the rules. But I've told our players on our team, this is really about your ball. It's not about your brand. And if you play well enough and you act right and you're working towards your degree, you're going to have some people call that collective and say, I'd like for Watson Brown's name to be involved with my business. So can you get him in contact with me or his agent? Because now they've all got agents. Can I talk to his agent about an opportunity to use Watson's name with my car dealership? Yeah. And then they let you lease a car for a year for free or something like that. And most of the opportunities they're paid per appearance. And that's what they have to do, Watson. So some people, let's say you're a guy's got a contract signed for $100,000 a year. And then he has to make 5 appearances to get those $20,000. Well, if he flunks out of school, he's not able to go to the appearance. If he opts out of a bowl game, he's not able to go to the appearance. So it's just getting more and more like the NFL. The other thing that's going to come up here in the future is some people are offering these guys money, and they're not going to have it when they get there, and they're not going to pay them. And we're going to see lawsuits and a lot of unrest in that locker room. Secondly, I know that we're going to see players that are given incentives to come and they get the money and then they don't play well or they get hurt and they're not going to renew that contract. So if that contract's a 1-year contract and he doesn't do well, they're not going to pay him because the boosters that are paying that money aren't going to be happy with him not playing well. So there's a lot of navigating through this stuff and a lot of confusion that we're all having to deal with. What I'm trying to do is tell them your best incentive for your NIL deal at North Carolina is get your degree. We'll get you internships. You learn how to make a great living when you get out of here instead of asking for $50 or $100 or $200,000 up front. That's your best deal. And what we've got to do, Watson, it makes it tougher. We've got to find those families and those kids that still care about education that want to come to North Carolina because I really believe they're still going to be the ones that are going to play the hardest on Saturday. And if you get a locker room like you're talking about, he's making 50 and he's making 100. Well, how much is he making? I don't know that they're going to be focused enough on football to do what you want to do as a coach, because we aren't the NFL. We've just got we've got a worse model now than the NFL. We're going to have to learn from the NFL and do more what you've talked about. And even if the positions are slotted, if they're going to pay an offensive tackle $50,000 more than a running back, whatever it is, we've got to get some people involved to get some guidelines and guardrails so we can get back to thinking about education, thinking about the great game of football on Saturday, and not just talking about the money. And I will say we've probably lost 3 or 4 kids this year. We've lost more as transfers because a lot of people are offering them money because they're already there and they're proven products. But we've probably lost 2 or 3 really good players as high school recruits. But the large majority of our team and the large majority of our recruits have never even mentioned it. And that's pleasing to me.
Yeah. Watson, let's step in here. We'll go to the break, and then part 2 of Watson Brown with North Carolina football coach Mack Brown. Incredible stuff. I knew it would be. This is the George Plaster Show on Main Street Media TV.
I think journalism is like politics. It's all local. And I think Main Street Media has really hit on something that I've been preaching for 50 years, and keep the news local, right? Local stories for local readers. And that's what I like about Main Street Media. I finally found somebody who agrees with me philosophically about concentrate on local subjects, local topics, and you'll bring your readers in.
Experience, professionalism, compassion, empathy. These are the traits our family abide by at Sumner Funeral and Cremation when we care for your family. As lifelong residents of Sumner County, our family-owned business understands what it means to be a part of a community and to serve those within it. With 2 convenient locations in Gallatin and now Hendersonville, and online at sumnerfuneral.com, we share our family with yours in your time of need. Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards.
We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
It's your last chance to get a spring tune-up for summer. Complete Service Heat and Air can clean your coils, check out your motor, and make sure you have cold air on that first hot day of summer. Complete Service Heat and Air is located in White Bluff, Tennessee. We do service and repair on heating and air the right way. 24/7 service. Call us at 615-797-3997. That's 615-797-3997. Serving Cheatham, Davidson, Dixon, Hickman, Humphreys, Montgomery, and Williamson counties.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor-trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
George. George, I don't have you. Not coming in.
Okay, apparently we
There you go.
There it is. Yes.
There you
Me
go.
too, George.
Which one of us had you?
Okay. Watson, the floor is yours.
Mac, we got about 10 minutes, I think, left here, and I want to go back when I can to the portal. But first, with all of that's going on, that's so new for us, and all this league stuff, and I've felt for a while, Mac, it is about the dollars. You hinted to that just a little bit ago on paying your players and having the money to be able to do this, and when we've watched Oklahoma and Texas, and both of us have been at both of those. I was at Oklahoma, you were at Oklahoma and Texas. We understand the history involved in those two schools. And to the old Southwest Conference, that when you were at Oklahoma and I was in it at Rice, and then the Big 12, where you went against Oklahoma every year, and usually the winner gets a shot at playing for the national championship, and then to jump to the SEC and to leave everybody like that, and then to turn around and watch UCLA and Southern Cal do the same thing. All the talk now about 3 or 4 of you guys, you're one of them in the ACC. It's all about dollars. That scares me. I understand there's a big difference, Mac, in 60 million and 105 million. I get that. Where are we headed, Mac? When is it going to stop? And what do you think is best? Not to put you on the spot, not to try to get personal with North Carolina, but what do you think's best for college football, and where are we going to stop this train?
Well, I sat there and watched Texas and Texas Tech and Oklahoma State get really, really close to going to the Pac-12. I mean, it was down to the last day. I thought we were going. We'd set up recruiting areas, and we talked about how our Olympic sports would be able to travel back and forth, and you might not want to play at Washington and Washington State on the same year. You'd have to play one at home and one out there. And then ESPN came in and started a Longhorn Network for $200 million, and we all stayed. And then I saw A&M and Missouri just get up and leave right after that, and Colorado and Nebraska had left, and then you start looking at holding your league together. And I think the numbers would be similar to 31 million here as compared to 95 or 105 that they're talking about with the upgrades or the renegotiations of the TV contracts over the next couple of years in the Big Ten and the SEC. So I don't know, Watson. I've tried to really stay out of it. I do know what because I was very involved at Texas, and then we worried about it and we thought about it and we had all these different scenarios, and then one day nothing changed. We just went back to the Big 12 and played the same team. So I do know we've got to coach our team hard and get ready to play, because I know who we're going to play on August 27th. And that's the most important thing to me. The other thing that I would share with our administration is it's not my opinion to stay, whether we go north, whether we go south, whether we've got options. All I want is what's best for our players and our staff. That's it. And I don't care where we go. I do want to be able to pay our coaches and our staff members as much as we can. And I do want our players to get every benefit that every top football program in America gets. And that's really it to me. That's whether you stay or go, I'm not going to be asked, but even if I was, I wouldn't know what would be best. And there's so many rumors out there. It's just like NIL. Are these kids making all the money they say they are? Some of them aren't. I had a guy sit in my office and say, Coach, I've been offered $350,000, and he was a recruit, and I thought he was an okay player. And he said, I've been offered $350,000 to take it. And I held up my phone and I said, let's call them now, man. You ought to take it. You need to get it before you get out of this office, because I'd hold them to that if they offered you that much. So I'm not sure where things are going. I'm not sure what it's going to look like in 5 years or 10 years. But I do feel like we can't lose sight. People are getting frustrated with realignment. They're getting frustrated with NIL. They're frustrated with the transfer portal. I think we've got to make sure that we keep the most important thing in front of us, and that's the players. And if we can make sure that they've got good mental health, because I'm worried about mental health with all these extra burdens on them. There's more mental health issues than I've ever seen before. So let's take care of the players, and then the rest of it takes care of itself. Everybody going to be playing somebody. And the only difference is in certain leagues, some people are going to be making more money than others. But if you're playing somebody that's making all the same money you are, it's going to work out anyway. So I've really gotten to a point that I'm like everybody else. I've just got a little enough information to be dangerous, and don't know what's going to happen. Don't know when it's going to happen. Don't know if it's going to happen, but I know who we play in the opener, Watson, and we weren't very good last year. So I'm totally focused on trying to get us ready to play that opener.
I believe me. And I don't miss that feeling.
No, no.
You can have it, brother.
Yeah.
You can have it. Now, I will say I miss the excitement of the preparation, but the thoughts of course, I opened with Alabama my first game at Vanderbilt. That wouldn't have been one I would have picked to open with. But
no,
Mack,
but Watson, let me make one point before we go on. I know we're short on time here, but most of your guys at Vanderbilt wouldn't have asked for money. They came to be at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
They came because of you, your relationship. They came to get a great education, and that's who we are. That's what we're dealing with. So that's why I think we've got to be careful and not let what's happening with a few change our view of a wonderful sport and these great kids that are playing this sport, and let it get out of hand.
Mack, we both have worked a little bit with ESPN, and they seem to be controlling the deal here with the contracts all coming up. Are they trying to get, do you think, just an opinion, are they trying to get it within two leagues and put all the money in that and put very little then in what's left in the Power Fives? Do you think that's what they're up to? Or you like me, you're really not sure?
I'm really not sure. I think it was the president or chancellor at LSU, maybe 2011, said at some point there will be two leagues, Fox and ESPN.
Yeah,
and we're kind of headed
in
that direction.
Yep.
I do know that you and I loved our time with ESPN, and they were great to us, but they're business people.
Yep.
And that's their job. And their job is to get as many eyeballs on TV games on during the week, college football games, as they can possibly get. So when people say, well, they're doing this or they're doing that, no, they're doing their job. They're trying to get as many attractive games as possible. And that's why even in our league for next year, Watson, we're throwing out the two divisions so we can match better teams up to get better games for TV. I mean, so it's all around us. And everybody is trying to be marketable enough to have somebody want to pay you more. And then you've got more money that you can spend. One of the worst things right now that's happening, athletics directors' jobs are tougher than they were with all this stuff going on, obviously. But then other things happening is we're calling boosters and saying, help us raise some money to pay our coaches more. Help us with facilities. Oh, you got to buy season tickets. Well, you've been donating this to our Rams club every year, so you got to do that. Oh, by the way, I need another check for NIL. Yep. So we're beating our boosters down so much, they're getting tired. I call them now and they say, how much you want? They don't say hello. And that makes it tougher too. And they're right.
About a minute. Where are you with the transfer portal? It scares me. Are you okay with it?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Joe Burrow would have been a high school coach in Ohio and a third-team quarterback if it hadn't happened. So I always thought it was good for the backups. If they weren't happy, get your degree at your place, then go play a couple of years. I don't like people being able to tamper and buy people off your campus. That's not what it was for. And I don't like kids quitting in the middle of the season, Watson. So I think you're going to see guidelines that it's going to be 5 days after their last game before they can enter the portal. I had a guy leave last year at midseason. He walked in his about 7th game or something, a little after midseason. I said, where are you going? He said, I'm not playing very much, and I'm tired. and we're practicing this morning. I'm just not going to practice. I'll get in the transfer portal, and that way everybody will know I'm there. They'll hold a scholarship for me, and I can go visit some places. So I think you're going to see that stop. And I think you're going to see it much more difficult to transfer within your league, because that's not good either. You're talking to your buddies across town, your rival, and 3 guys want to transfer. I mean, that's not, they don't like you anyway. So you don't need to add that to it. But I think we can get the transfer portal where it's more reasonable and manageable. The NIL needs to be the one that we pull back in, and there'll be less traction with the transfer portal when we get NIL straightened out. And the last thing, guys, and I'll get off because I know it's quick here. The other thing is 40% of the kids that I think didn't find a place to go that got into the portal. 40% of the kids jumped in and don't have a scholarship. So we're going to see that number, Watson and George, really cut back every year when they realize it's not always better out there. And some of those people that say, hey, Watson, transfer, man, I got something for you. Well, we filled up. Sorry. So they're going to find out that's not the easiest route to go.
I could listen to you all do this all day, but in all seriousness, thank you so much for being our first guest. This has been terrific.
Y'all have got a great show, and it's going to be fun for everybody to listen. And like I said, you can start putting some sense into this craziness. But let's all remember we've got a great game. These are wonderful kids and a lot of great coaches out there. And let's don't get down on our sport. Let's don't get angry and miserable over a few things that we've just got to get fixed. And sometimes it's easier to fix it when it gets awful. And right now we got a mess, and it's a great opportunity for us to figure out a way to fix it.
Amen. Mack, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. Love you, brother.
See you, brother. Good luck.
Thank you.
Mack Brown is the head football coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. He was terrific. I knew he would be. Watson got right into it with some great questions as well. But after the break, Watson's worried about this stat of the day. It doesn't always make us look good, and that's coming up next. This is the George Plaster Show on Main Street Media Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in realty.
At Sumner Funeral and Cremation, our mission is to serve families as our own, celebrate the life of their loved one, and help begin the healing process.
My whole family, including my wife and my mom and siblings, were very happy with the treatment that we received. I would highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation.
We offer funeral, burial, cremations, and pre-planning services.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
I highly recommend Sumner Funeral and Cremation because of their caring nature and attentiveness to detail.
Pre-planning your funeral now will bring you peace of mind and less stress to your loved ones. When the chaos of losing you happens, your family can honor and celebrate your life, knowing things are happening just as you wanted them to. Pre-planning determines the details of your funeral, cemetery services, and can be less expensive. We are honored to serve you and are always here for you in your time of need.
Sumner Funeral and Cremation. Traditional, affordable, dignified. SumnerFuneral.com.
I think I got caught there. Yeah, I was trying to hide something. That's one of the things about television. You're always trying to hide stuff. Anyway, we welcome all of you back. This is Brian Stewart. Brian is the owner of One Stop Realty. Very excited to have him as a sponsor, not only because his product is good, but he's a Braves fan. Max Fried, Max Scherzer tonight. That's got 2-1 written all over it.
I feel like we need to be down at the Chop House shooting this tonight, is what I feel like. But it's going to be a great night for the Braves. Great series this past weekend, sweeping the Nationals. Definitely looking forward to seeing what the 1.5 game span for us can bring tonight. Okay, tell me a little bit about your company. So One Stop Realty has been around since 1974. We are your hometown brokerage. It is family owned by me. We have 30 agents that are waiting to help you with all your real estate needs. That counts as residential, commercial, and property management. We also will be getting into the auction business at the end of this month as well. We have listings that range from every price range that you can think of on the real estate market. I know Shelly Tucker has a new listing coming up in Gallatin. Heather Patton has one in Madison right around the corner here. I have one coming up myself. We have everything you need as far as real estate, and we have the expertise to help you out. Beautiful. Give them a phone number. Phone numbers for the office is 615-822-0750. You can find us on the web at www.onestoprealty.tn.com. Thanks for getting involved with us. George, really appreciate this. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think so. So are the Braves. Amen to that. Bingo. Okay, Watson, playtime is over because it is now time for Stat of the Day. Now, for those who have never seen us do this before, this was Michael Cindric's idea back a little more than a year ago. And what it really turned into was more of almost a trivia question where Watson and I end up being humiliated. Some of these have been downright awful. So, Watson, let's let the graphic go up here. Stat of the day, by the way, presented by a good friend of mine, John English, Vintage Sports and Cards, down in Shelbyville. If you're a sports fan and you have not been to his place, it is incredible. I've been there. You need to go see it. Who is the first and only player to win Super Bowl MVP from solely a special team status? Now, Watson, I've got one thought in mind, and apparently you do too. You want to go with yours first?
Yeah, he was a receiver, so I don't know that he'd be special teams.
You're going right where I'm thinking.
But it's Desmond Howard when he returned that kickoff to win, I forget which one it was. That's the biggest special teams play I can remember. But he wasn't a special teams guy. He was just returning a punt. Or that was a kickoff, I think, that he returned in the Super Bowl. But I would go with Desmond Howard, even though he's not a special teams guy.
Okay. Now, I'm sort of there with you. You ready?
Yeah. What you got?
I think it's Steve Tasker, Buffalo Bills.
Oh, boy. I hadn't thought about that. That's a good one.
Well, no, maybe it isn't because Buffalo never won the Super Bowl. So how many times does a loser end up being the MVP? I'm kind of leaning more to yours.
That's a good one, though. Because they hadn't won one, I would say it's not that. Yep.
Okay, let's pop it up.
Desmond
Howard. No.
Yep.
Oh, God. Oh. Yeah, whatever.
How long do I get to live with this?
It's a dumb question. I love it. Watson, you ready for hour number 2?
I'm ready, babe. Let's go.
Okay, let's do it. We welcome all of you back for hour number 2. So we've made it through 1 hour. They have not yet pulled us off the air. That's an encouraging sign. Let's get to the business of the Predators. As all of you know, they have finally re-signed a guy they absolutely had to have in Philip Forsberg. 6 years, $68 million. Is that right? 8 years. Let me take that back. 8 years, $68 million. And so they finally got this deal done. They had a Zoom press conference earlier today involving both Philip Forsberg and Preds general manager David Poyle. You're going to hear some of the highlights right now. Oh, no, you're not? Really?
Wasn't able to get those to you, George.
Okay. So we're going to go with McGhee?
Yes.
Okay. Earlier today, Billy Derrick caught up with our Predator expert and future Tennessee sports writer Hall of Famer. He gets inducted this Thursday. Mark McGhee. Let's listen in.
Mark, obviously, it's been a big couple of weeks, past couple of weeks here for David Poyle and the Nashville Predators. How would you describe the momentum that Mr. Poyle has created for the Preds franchise here in the past few weeks?
I think it's been huge. A lot of people were wondering what was going to happen, how committed he was to making his team competitive for the 2022-2023 season. Of course, the linchpin was Forsberg. Were they going to sign him? We heard for months that both sides were talking and saying the right things, but nobody had put anything on. Nobody had signed a piece of paper yet, so that was a concern. I'd heard that July 7th was a drop dead day. That came and went. And then a few days later, they did finally sign on Saturday morning, $8.5 million for 8 years. I think this shows how much Philip Forsberg wanted to be a part of this team, because he's still going to be he still is not getting paid what Matt Duchene and Ryan Johansson are making at $9 million, nor what Roman Josi is making at $10 million. So he was willing to. I kept on saying I thought the length of the contract was one of the big stumbling blocks, plus also he wanted a no trade clause and no clause, which David Poyle is reluctant to give, and most general managers are reluctant to give those. But I think those were also made were one of the big reasons why that he went ahead and signed as well. In 8 years, since he was with the Predators and re-signing, no other team could give him that type of length because of the NHL rules on those lines.
Mark, a lot of people asking, why did this take so long? Of course, Forsberg, he's very easily could have been with another team right now, but David Poyle was able to get the job done. So why, I know you went into it a little bit there, but why exactly did this take this long?
It's hard to really say. I think a lot of it was I kept on saying it was terms. Nobody's told me that for certain, but I just always felt like from the beginning it was how long this contract was going to last. I think he'd like to probably retire as a Predator. He came in as a first-round draft pick with the Washington Capitals, and he then was traded to the Predators, which is a great trade from their standpoint. But I think that he was wanting. I think he wants to stay around. This be his last move, and I think. A lot of people are saying, maybe he was going to look at a Stanley Cup contender. Well, now by him staying here and the Predators trading for Ryan McDonough, the defenseman with Tampa Bay Lightning, are they moving toward being much more competitive for the Stanley Cup and going from a first-round dropout to possibly a contender again? I think they're still a little short of that. I think they need a couple more forwards, especially the top six forward with some scoring skills. I think they need the solid defenseman. And the goaltending situation, the backup after UC Saros is going to be Connor Ingram. It's going to be somebody else. It's not going. They're going to have to make a change there as far as the backups go. So there's still a couple of things there, but I think the team is going to be much more competitive in 2022, 2023 than it was this past year.
Mark, real quick here before I let you go, does this compare to the Ryan Suter situation with Forsberg? And have you seen another Preds player like Forsberg be so wanted by the franchise, and now they get it done, and you see this type of momentum for the team?
Yeah, first the Suter situation didn't turn out very well, but I think that with Forsberg has turned out to be very, very good. I think that this was the most crucial thing. David Poyle's been a general manager, assistant GM for a long time, and I think that he may be the longest running one in the NHL right now, or pretty close if he's not. But I think this is the most crucial thing that he's done since he's been the GM for the Predators. I think this, because if he had gone and if they had lost Forsberg and got nothing for him, losing him would have been a disaster, but losing him, not getting anything for him would have been an ultimate disaster. So, so I think the McDonough trade, and they did the Tampa Bay Lightning a favor by helping their salary cap by getting him. And I think the, Forsberg re-signing are two huge steps. It should make fans really excited about what the future is for this team to be a competitor, and Poyle's showing that right now.
Okay, Watson, let's talk a little bit about this. You brought it up earlier that this should have gotten done weeks ago. I happen to agree with you on that. I don't really understand, given what the final terms of the thing were, why it took so long. But I know this. They have avoided what was going to be an irate fan base if they had lost Forsberg.
Oh, absolutely. And but looking back on it, I said it earlier in the show, George, I don't think they were going to let him leave. They didn't pay him the big bucks compared to even some on the team, but they gave him the years. And I really think that's what he wanted, was the years. I think he loves the team. He loves Nashville, and I just don't think he wanted to leave. And once they did that, he might have even taken a little less money just to get the years, in my opinion.
Okay, so David Poyle, who we all respect, and anybody who's ever dealt with him knows is an incredible human being. This was a really important offseason for him because, frankly, a lot of the mess that they have had over the last couple of years have involved decisions David's made. And so he has needed a way stronger offseason than in most off seasons. To me, the Ryan McDonough move is a home run. You can slice it any way you want. This guy is really going to help them.
Absolutely. He's A+ to me in what he's done this year, George. And what a perfect time to do it, because I think he feels that it's time. The Preds need to be back. And I mean, be back and be a factor all the way to the Stanley Cup. And that's what we want. We tasted it. I've been on those teams that when you get there and then it falls back, man, it irritates everybody. So I think we're on the right track right now. No doubt about it.
So the first round draft pick gets sort of iffy stuff from people. There's some people saying this kid is terrific. There are others saying he's too small. I don't pretend to know. I haven't seen him play, but I know it's kind of a 50-50 mix of what did they get out of the first round draft pick. Any thoughts there?
No, I just want to see. Always with the first rounders, we talked about Baker Mayfield being the first pick in the draft. I guess it was earlier this week preparing for the show, George. And to me, those picks don't mean anything till they get on that field and prove their worth. And so I don't look at that much when it first happens. I'm more anxious to see how they play.
They made a decision, Watson, and I think some of it is concern about how strong the fan base is in a relatively new market. They made the decision to sort of go not a rebuild, but sort of a improve on the fly kind of, I guess that's the word I'm looking for. My point to this is that I think at the end of the Colorado playoff series, there were some really anxious ticket holders saying, it's got to be better than this. You've got to be, if you're going to be in the playoffs, you got to be halfway competitive. And they were not against Colorado. They had a goaltender issue at the beginning with Riddick, who couldn't have stopped a beach ball. And then Connor Ingram did, I thought, as good a job as he could. And my gut feeling is he will be their backup goaltender next year.
I bet you're right. But I think they felt it, George. I think they knew when that series was over, goaltender or not, they knew they had work to do to catch that bunch. And they're right in the division with them. So they've got to catch them. And I think they're off to a great start of doing that, in my opinion. Let's see what they do the rest of the way, because I don't think they're through yet. They better not be through yet.
No, this will not take it to where they want it to go. I think I saw this right. $9.5 million. Is that the number left in the salary cap?
I think you're right.
8.5, something like that. Somewhere in the $8 to $9 million range. And it seems to me they've got to be able to divide that up into a couple of pieces, probably be better on defense than they were a year ago, because toward the end, especially when UC went out, they weren't very good at all on that end.
No, and I still think scoring. I still think, and the one we just signed will help with that, but I still think scoring is a piece of this. I think there's still some more pieces to go to catch Colorado. I think what we've done is fantastic. I could tell a big difference in Colorado and Tampa, George, in the Stanley Cup final. I thought Colorado was faster, looked younger. Tampa had to play a lot more games. I understand that, and that might have been what I saw. But Colorado's going to be tough to catch now, and but I think we're off to a good start. I feel good about where we are. If Forsberg was gone, I think you just start over. So that had to be done.
Watson, let's take a vote.
Okay.
You think it's okay to let Billy back in?
Yeah. Let him in. I'm tired of looking at your face all the time.
Wow, that's wonderful. Okay, so 2-0. Billy wins on a unanimous decision. Okay, you listened in on the press conference. Give me some thoughts. Give me some takes of what you heard. Let's start with this. Why did this thing take so dadgum long?
Well, George, I don't know. Oh, there we go, George. I don't know that David Poyle exactly knows the answer to that, but he was very much so emphasizing the fact that they realized that they were fully aware that yes, this took way too long. This did not need to take this long, but they also knew that they knew what they wanted to do the whole time. Philip Forsberg knew he wanted to re-sign. The Preds knew they wanted to re-sign him. So he was hinting at, yes, it shouldn't have taken this long, but some of the fans talking about stuff like, what about him not coming back? There was none of that within the franchise. So that was a big emphasis.
Was Forsberg bothered by how long this took?
He actually did say, I don't have the direct quote. He said it wasn't the most fun past few weeks for him, especially because he's getting married in a couple weeks too. And he had his bachelor party weekend this past weekend. So he had to juggle a lot of things. He didn't seem too elated about that, but I know he's glad to remain a Predator for a while now.
Well, did he bring it up? She apparently is an aspiring singer, songwriter.
Yes. Yeah.
In the Nashville area. Was that a big factor to this?
Oh, it was a huge factor. There was just some good questions about, what does this mean personally to you? And that was a big part of this decision for him. It's not just a hockey decision for Philip Forsberg. This means more to him, personally, honestly, because he's spending the next 8 years of his career and his life in Nashville, and it's helping his future wife too. So that was a big part of it, George.
So did Poyle let on at all? He's very good. Let me say this. One of David's biggest strengths is the poker face. You don't know where he's coming from. And I laugh with him about it at times. He's really good at it, much as the late Floyd Reese was with the Titans. Did he let on at all? Hear the next moves, hear the things we have to do now that this is done?
He was very poker faced, George. But they talked about what they got in the draft, and they feel really good about that. There's a lot of confidence in the building about that move, and you talked about it as well. There's a lot swirling around, but I think Poyle, he did a great job of mentioning how they were able to block out all that outside noise, and there was a lot of it. And there was a lot of outside noise these past few weeks, and he's proud of their effort. He's proud of the fact that they were able to block that out, and now they feel like they've got a lot off their back after this move. Because say they don't get it done, that's kind of another snowball. They didn't let it snowball, so that's a big thing, I think, for the Preds.
Yeah. Okay, before we go to the break, when we come back, you're going to meet the fourth person who is going to be a part of the on-air stuff. We're going down to Arlington, Texas, and meet up with Michael Cindric. Am I allowed to give out the phone numbers right now?
Go right ahead, George.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the permission. If you want to go ahead and get in, I realize on day one, are we 100% certain of every last thing? Heck no. But you know what? So far, we've given you a little taste of what it is we're going to be doing, and we're going to get better and better at this as we go along. So the phone number to call, and we'll begin taking those phone calls around 525, area code 615-994-6998. I'll do it one more time. 615-994-6998. Go ahead and get in on the lines. This is the George Plaster Show on Main Street Media Television.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Hey everyone, I'm John English. This is Keith Wallace, and we would like to welcome you to John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville, Tennessee. We specialize in graded and ungraded sports and non-sports cards, vintage wax boxes, and unopened cases. We have a large selection of PSA graded cards. We also specialize in old sports collectibles, baseball, football, basketball, golf, and tennis. You can find it all at John English Antique Sports and Cards. We are happy to be associated with Nashville's greatest sports antique, George Plaster.
I think journalism is like politics. It's all local, and I think Main Street Media has really hit on something that I've been preaching for 50 years. And keep the news local, right? Local stories for local readers, and that's what I like about Main Street Media. I finally found somebody who agrees with me philosophically about concentrate on local subjects, local topics, and you'll bring your readers in.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit wellskinmd.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin.
We are back, and thanks for joining us on day one, a beautiful Monday afternoon in Nashville, Tennessee. If you want to get in on the phone lines, we'll take some phone calls in about 5 minutes. Those lines are available at 615-994-6998. Let me do that one more time. 615-994-6998. Oh, yeah, look at that little crawler. I love it. Let's head down to Arlington, Texas. The fourth member of the crew will join us sometime in January because he's still got a master's degree to get and a football season to play. Michael Cindric was an intern last summer in my radio life, and he joins us. Wow. Combed your hair, put on a nice shirt.
Yes, absolutely. There's no, in radio you can kind of get away with whatever, but now that we're visual, we gotta dress up a little bit, look a little bit nicer.
Is it really that you feel that way, or basically the fact that I put out the edict?
Well, I mean, I would have been you probably would have drove to Arlington and waterboarded me if I didn't. So I figured a collared shirt would be fitting.
So tell people
Obviously, when I'm able to get you and Watson together, when you join us, we're going to get a lot of, okay, I'm the player. I just finished my career. He's the coach. He's finished his coaching career. To me, that's going to be one of the cool things that we're going to be able to do is get you all trading thoughts on, as opposed to where the coaches think.
Oh, it's going to be a blast. I can't wait. We got a little bit of a taste of it, I guess, last summer or about a year ago, and it was so fun just getting to talk. And, it's interesting because you always see things differently. Probably as a player, you see things one way, and as a coach, you see things differently. And so, I would maybe have my opinion going in about how I thought something, and then get to talk to Watson in the summer about it, and he might give me a little bit of a different spin. So I guess at 23, really – very naive when it comes to the football world, even playing it though, because there's a whole different, listening to the Mack Brown interview, there's a whole different aspect inside of coaching that just a perspective that you get, which makes it really fun.
Watson, say hello to Michael.
Michael, how are you?
Man, I'm good. I'm really good. I've missed, teaming up on George with you. So we're going to have to get back on ASAP.
I'll hold it down the best I can, Michael, till you get here. I'll work on Billy. I'll have to defend Billy some because he don't know what he's in for. But then when you get here, it'll be. When do you start, bud? When does your football? When do you go to report to start?
Yes, sir. So we report the very beginning of August, and then September 4th is our first game. We've got 11 games. Our conference has got 12 teams in it. So we just play 11 straight conference games. And then usually, the conference champion and maybe the second place in our conference gets to go to the playoffs. It's a little bit different. They've got 28 teams in Division II. So that's kind of that'll be the season. I think the national title game's December 18th. So it'll go from September 4th all the way to the end of December.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Do they give you're not on campus through the summer like a lot of the Division I schools, like I'd always have my guys. So do they send you workouts that you have to follow, report back to them? Do they have a workout for you when you get back to see what kind of shape you're in? How do they do it?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we've got workouts, Monday through Friday all summer long. And we're always, we've got receiver, but position meetings kind of all summer. We're checking in on guys every time, I work out or train, sending it, we record something and then send it also as well as the position group, kind of to emphasize accountability. And then, when we get back, there's a conditioning test, and there's a really difficult workout session usually. And you can tell who trained. It's pretty obvious. We've had some guys that come in and crush it before, and then some guys that looks like they ran their first sprint in about 3 months. And so it's pretty obvious who did their work and who didn't. And so anyway, that's kind of how we do things.
Yep.
Michael, we had it real quick. We had a clip that we're not able to show it, but it's of you catching a touchdown on a Harding football
I don't think
field.
It was a touchdown. I think it was like a 30-yard pass.
Okay, maybe not a touchdown, but George thought that was so incredible.
I thought this was about to be a shot from George about how we never throw the ball. So I was getting ready to defend it. We run the triple at Harding. I thought there was about to be some shot there.
Well, there was going to be, but
Yes.
we weren't able to get the picture up there. So you all run not the eye bone, the flex bone?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we do. We run the flex bone, and we were air raid about 10 years ago. And I think, if you go back and look at some of our scores, it was about 60 to 55 just about every other game. And our head coach just came in and said, we got to run something that helps our defense out a little bit. Our defense was on the field forever. And so made the switch all the way onto the opposite side of the spectrum to the flex bone, and it's been really good for us. I'm sure I'll argue a lot with George about it once we get on the show, but it's been really good for us, and seen a lot of success doing it. And so it's definitely different, being a wide receiver, you gotta adjust to the mindset and kind of embrace it. But so we run the flex bone. It's triple option is all that it is.
Yeah. You and Watson can get into that. I'll throw the ball.
I would love to. That would be great.
Michael, appreciate you taking the time to come on with us. Look forward to having you in January.
Hey, absolutely. And if the Plaster bet of the day is in 30 minutes, just if you're listening, bet the opposite. That's the last thing I like to say.
Oh, good shot on the way out.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's fine. That's fine. See if you get any more airtime. So that's the way it's going to be. Everybody gangs up on George. Well,
oh, give me a break.
Yeah,
give me a break.
Listen, I want to get some phone callers in here, and I realize on day one that you may not be prepared for that. But also, I know we've got the opportunity for people to text. Billy, am I right to text?
Yes,
in
sir.
questions?
George, we
And I've
got, believe it or not, we've got somebody that wants to talk the Braves coming up.
Well, I like that. I love that, in fact. So I'm looking around at a bunch of different papers. I know some people have texted in some questions, and we'll get to those as well in a few minutes. Clay on line one, welcome to Main Street Media Television.
Well, George, we got to connect here to your phone first.
What does that mean?
We need your password first.
Oh, no, we're not doing that.
Oh, we're ready. We're ready.
Not doing that on live TV. Clay, are you there? Okay. Apparently, Clay may not be there. So the best laid plans of mice and men. Watson had a question, and I think it's a great one. I'll do the.
I think Clay's there, George.
Okay, let's go to Clay then. Clay, welcome.
Hey, George, how y'all doing?
Doing really good.
Good. Watson, how are you?
Clay, I'm doing great, buddy. I thought about you the other day when I was cutting grass. Hope you're doing okay.
I get the feeling
Watson
we
there,
may
George.
have. Clay, are you able to hear us okay?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, you're having trouble with the others. Go ahead with your question. I'll kind of take it and run with it for now.
Well, George, I know you're feeling mighty chipper these days. The Atlanta Braves are on a roll. They're hotter than a firecracker. Chop on.
Well, let me say this. Yeah, they're playing great baseball right now. I'm very excited. When they were 10.5 back, I never dreamed that by the time they would get to the Mets series in middle July, that they could cut it down to a 1.5 games. That said, the Mets are legit. They have done most of this without Max Scherzer. They've done most of this without Jacob deGrom. Buck Showalter ought to be manager of the year in the National League for what he is, the hodgepodge of stuff he's had to put together. The guy is a dadgum good manager. Watson, I will say this on the Braves. If Mike Soroka comes back healthy by around mid-August, if he is anything like the Soroka before the injuries, they're as good as anybody.
Yeah. And what a great down the stretch it's going to be between the Mets and the Braves if that happens, George. I think that needs to happen because if these two pitchers get well for the Mets, there's not going to be a lot of runs scored. So we're going to have to match that with our pitching, which has been very good, by the way. But I just think this is probably going to be the best race in Major League Baseball down the stretch if both teams stay healthy.
Clay, anything else on your end?
No, did Watson respond because I could not hear him.
Yeah, I know we've got to work on that and probably get that fixed. Really, both of us were just in sort of the if Mike Soroka comes back healthy, look out because they're as good as anybody.
Welcome back, George. Looking forward to calling the show a lot. Thank you for sending me the number.
Yeah,
I did pass along to Tony. So I hope you'll hear from him, and I hope you and Watson are both doing well.
Clay, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, I know we're going to have a few little hiccups with the phone stuff, but we'll work on it. 615-994-6998. I guess we'd call it the text line. Dave in Gallatin asked the question, Watson, will Notre Dame join a conference? Let's start with you.
Not immediately. I think it'll take a while, but yes, I think in time they will. I don't think they will till their contract with NBC runs out, George. That's when I think that they may join.
Okay, let me take this a step farther, see what you think. Isn't it down to basically two superpowers and the rest can go jump in the lake as far as the feeling that you get that it's all either SEC or Big Ten? Notre Dame's not going to join Pac-12, ACC, Big 12, and that whichever one lands Notre Dame, they are King Tut. You buy that?
Yeah, I do. The ACC is still the one out there that's strong. I don't see who they can add. They're not going to get Notre Dame, in my opinion. I think Notre Dame will go to the Big Ten. That's where I think they'll go. They've played so many of those schools. But watch for the ACC, George, because I don't know if they can hang on their own. That's why I got a feeling we're going to see 2 to 4 of those end up in the SEC before it's all said and done. I think Mack told the truth there. I don't think he knows. I really don't. But I think it's going to be hard for the ACC to be the third power because who's left other than Notre Dame that could strengthen them? So to me, watch out. That will be the next one I think that might go. I don't think it'll be tomorrow, but look out. I think that it'll bust up.
Okay, let me ask this, and this is me being a little bit of a smart aleck, but how in the world do you have a 20 to 22 team conference? Number one, your basketball tournament would take 2.5 weeks. Not that anybody gives a damn one way or the other in these leagues. They don't care one thing about hoops, and they're kind of showing that as they do all this. It's all football driven. How in the world do you make this work?
I think in the other sports other than basketball, you'll see divisions, and I'm not sure they'll get out of their divisions a lot. Those divisions could be pretty deep with the number of schools that's going to be in the conference. Basketball is going to be the hard one when it comes down to it. The tournaments at the end for baseball or whatever, you can cut that back. The top 6 go, the top 10 go, whatever. That may be what they have to do in basketball, George, is cut back the number that go to the tournament.
Watson, Lewis in Columbia asked the question, what will be the situation with Malik Willis with the Titans? What do you think their plan is? And deep down, Watson, do you really think they ever had a plan going into the draft concerning Malik Willis? I'm not convinced they ever thought he'd be there.
I think from what we talked about back when we were on radio, George, if the quarterback they really like, 1, maybe 2, is there when their time comes, they're going to take it. And they got one. I think they're going to hold him. This is still Ryan Tannehill's team, good or bad. Ryan will do it this year and be the guy. And so it's a pretty good situation, I think, for Malik Willis, unless there happens to be an injury to Ryan or something, or he's not playing well. He might have to be thrown in there. I think Ryan's going to come back. I fought for Ryan after the playoff loss last year, as you well know, defended him pretty strongly. I think he will come back. I've been a little disappointed that he hadn't been more open with it, but he has spoke up more recently about it. I think he's still the leader of this team, and I think they've got a good situation with Malik Willis. What I'm hearing, they really like him, that they think he's got a chance to be a really good player.
Okay, let me take this a step farther. God forbid, and I think they've been extremely lucky in this area that Tannehill is whatever you think of him. Man, the guy is durable. He took a ton of hits a year ago and kept getting up. So let's say there's a scenario where he doesn't get up. Logan Whiteside or Malik Willis?
Today, Malik Willis, but I think he's got to go through preseason practice, the preseason games and play well. He's going to still have to earn that second spot. I think going in right now, from what I've heard, they really like him, George.
Okay. Got a few more coming after the break. Phone lines available. You can dial us up at 615-994-6998. I'll do it slow one more time. Area code 615-994-6998. This is the George Plaster Show on Main Street Media Television.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin.
I'm Bart Durham.
I was sworn in as a lawyer in 1963, and I've been working as a lawyer since then.
We're a firm that does exclusively personal injury, a lot of tractor trailer crashes. Insurance companies will open up their checkbooks when you force them to.
We have systems that work.
We get the most money for our clients in the shortest amount of time.
I'm Blair Durham. My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com.
They caught me again. I got to remember this. Put your earplugs in earlier. That's the lesson to be learned as we welcome all of you back. An open phones and texting segment. First time Watson and I have been on anything close to a talk show in 2.5 months. So if you've got a question, love to hear from you. 615-994-6998 is the number. Let's go down to Columbia, Tennessee. Chris, welcome in.
Hey, George, welcome back to the airwaves. It's so good to have some people willing to talk about some Vanderbilt sports.
Well, let's do it.
So my question is going to be about football, and it's kind of a two-part question. We see the freshman quarterback come in, and we're hearing nothing but good things about A.J. Swan. We saw the offense look very different last year when Mike Wright got in. My question is, who do you think the starter is this year at quarterback specifically? And to follow that up with Watson in the studio, what is your outlook for Clark Lee going forward? Is he going to be able to get it turned around, or is he going to struggle like some of the other coaches have in the past? And with that, I'll hang up and listen to you guys so I can hear Watson actually answer the question.
Okay, Chris, good stuff. Thank you. Watson, let's go backwards. With Clark Lee, and I'll admit, I don't know how you do this. He was able to get a top 35 recruiting class a year ago. The group that will come in as freshmen. And I really don't know how you bring those kids in on game day and say to them, here's our stadium. And oh, by the way, if we're playing an SEC team, 85% of the crowd is the other team. How do you do that?
Hard. It's really hard. They've got to fix the facilities, George, to help him. I've been excited for him. I think he's doing the right things. He knows the right things to do. From sitting and talking with him, he's a Vanderbilt guy. He's been on that campus. He went to school there. There are certain things you need to know about Vanderbilt, and you learn that from being there. He knows those things. I think his recruiting has gone as good as it can. I think the way it'll get better is to help him with facility and everything around him. Win some games, get those non-conference wins, sneak you out a few conference games, let it grow every year, and it'll just get better. But that's hard. That is one of the toughest things I think that you have to do. And it's going to be harder on him when this conference keeps getting deeper, George. I mean, you add in Texas and Oklahoma, and he'll be playing at least one of those when they come in. But I think he's doing a really good job. I'm really pleased. I can remember vividly, though, my last couple of classes were in that top 30-ish where he's been landing. And he's doing it much earlier than I did, which is a good thing. That hurt me that my better classes were at the end of my time. But I can remember that in that 35, nearly every one of the SEC schools were still above me that we were playing. And it's just really hard. I think that his team playing well, win the games that you can win, get you a couple of SEC wins, get in bowls, and grow it slowly that way. Everybody has got to give him time. I know you get tired of hearing it, but he deserves some time to try to do this. This will not be fixed this year. No. And it's not going to be fixed in just a couple of years.
Derek
just
Mason
keep doing what he's doing, George. Keep doing what he's doing. He's doing a really good job, in my opinion, right now.
Derek Mason left a mess, and we all know that. And it was a bigger mess than I think even they realized at the time they got him out of that position. On the quarterback part of it, Watson, Mike Wright can't throw. And until I see that he can throw, I don't see how against legitimate competition that knows that you can start him at quarterback.
I think he will be the starter. When the season starts this year, I hope and pray that he is much improved in the throwing game. I think you can improve a quarterback from the first year really that he goes out there or when he's young and he keeps growing in the position. I think you drastically can improve him. What's going to help Mike is the offensive line. That's still my question mark going into this season. The offensive line last year I thought was the poorest part of the team. And that's got to get better. He can run the ball. They can run the ball. If they get that going, the RPOs, not to get technical, the play action passes will be more the things that he can do well. And they don't have to put him in those all-out drop-back pass type situations, which is what I think he probably is the poorest at now. But Mike Wright could make a big jump this year over last year if he's coached well and he's into what he's doing.
Let's go to Gallatin, Tennessee. Bill, welcome in. Bill, are you there?
We don't have Bill, George.
Okay. Let me go then with one of the questions.
We may have him now, George.
Well, hold on. Michael and Dixon asks, Watson, is Tennessee's number one recruiting class right now for 2023, because they've had some great stuff happen early? Do you think it will hold to the end?
Yes, I think they're on the right track. I've been very impressed with the recruiting up on the hill, and this is as good as I've seen it since Phillip's heyday, George. Phillip had a couple of those classes in his early years as head coach, Phillip Fuller I'm talking about. But they're doing very, very well in recruiting. They are going to be the team that I'm anxious to watch play this year early, especially. See if they're better, or were they a little bit of a flash in the pan last year. I'm really anxious to watch the Big Orange play this year.
Let's now try Bill in Gallatin again. Bill, welcome in.
Hey, thanks, guys. Hey, George, it's awfully good to hear you back on the air again.
Hey, thank
Coach,
you.
It's a honor to be. Yes, and Coach, it's an honor to be able to talk to you. I feel as if I know you. I have a relative that played on your team at Vanderbilt in the early '80s, and he always spoke so highly of you. I think you probably were his favorite coach on the team there. But I happened to move up from Florida in the early '80s, and my question is for you. The Florida Gators right now are absolutely smitten with their new coach, Billy Napier from Cookeville, and I'm wondering if you have any connections with the Napier family, if you could shed any light, on his family there in Cookeville.
George, I guess he can't hear me, but I hope maybe he's listening through watching us. And yes, I have a close family connection to the Napiers in Salina, Tennessee, where I spent my first 8 years and where I was born. They were next door neighbors. His family, of course, not him, but his family was, and lived right behind us. Stayed close through his dad. His dad was a great high school coach in Georgia. We lost him not but a few years ago. So I know Billy. I'm proud of the family. They're really Salina guys more than Cookeville guys. Billy Napier is a good football coach. I'm telling you guys, he's a good football coach. So he's going to do a good job. I know they've struggled a little bit in recruiting here early. I don't see that keeping up. I think Billy Napier was a great hire. Hopefully we'll see it this year. Maybe not, but he's going to do a good job at Florida.
Watson, help me with this. One of the things I haven't been able to figure out about Florida, that's a state that is loaded with skilled people. And I look around in recent years, and I've thought their skill people were pretty average, where, in the Spurrier era, it was just, they were loaded with people. Why have they had so much trouble in that area?
No reason for it. None. I think that's why there's a new coach in there, George. Think about it. Think back in the Florida State times with all of the skill they had. Florida is loaded with talent. It is one of the best states in the country. Got really good offense and defensive linemen too now. This is a good state for football. The University of Florida should be the number one school in that state, in my personal opinion. I always feel like the state university, if it's done right, will lead the state. But my gracious now, I mean, Florida State, Miami, that's a tough go. And everybody in the SEC and even in the Big Ten now comes down to Florida to recruit. So you got to work a little harder than maybe you used to get those kids. But they've got to improve their skill. I agree with you 100%. The Florida skill level in the last couple of years doesn't look like Florida skill level to me.
Okay, give me this before we go to the break. What is it Napier wants to run there?
I think he's a spread guy, a fast-paced guy. He's going to run the ball well and throw it, and nothing different than a lot of the schools that in the SEC are doing. His offense is going to be Alabama-oriented. He's a Nick Saban guy. That's where he came from. That's his background. That's where he's going to put most of his head coach thoughts together, in my opinion. But you're going to see what you see all the time: a wide open, fast pace, I think Billy will never leave the run. He's going to always want to be a run guy, but he's going to be wide open and throw it around. And those skill guys are going to want to go to Florida to play for that.
Okay, we'll go to the break. When we come back, it's the Plaster bet of the day. And trust me when I tell you, they're going to have a field day when I'm wrong. Okay, they will be the classic second guessers. In particular, that guy with the white hair over there. He will rip me to shreds. He already thinks he knows exactly where we're going with this first play, but I may surprise him. So stick around. We got plenty more coming. Plaster bet of the day is next on Main Street Television.
Buying or selling a home can be a very personal experience. Why not go with the team that receives nearly all of their business from referrals? Clearly a trusted name in real estate. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners has sold more than 500 homes in the last 7 years. Voted best in Sumner County multiple times. Proven to be trusted with your most personal assets. Call the Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners at 615-906-8458. The Justin Tucker team with Platinum Realty Partners, Middle Tennessee's most trusted team in real.
Jody Jones Dentistry can handle all your dental needs, from the basics to cosmetic procedures. All of this in the nicest dental facility I have ever seen. Jody has done it right. They're located conveniently at 55 Music Square East, and for an appointment, it's simple. Dial 615-259-5100 and tell them Plaz sent you.
When you're thinking about golf, consider Riverside Golf Links. Under new ownership, the course has improved dramatically. It's now 27 holes, complemented by a 9-hole executive course. Book a tee time now at 615-847-5074 and get ready to enjoy the beauty of golf in the Old Hickory area at Riverside Golf Links.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
At WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics, we pride ourselves in providing access, innovation, and a patient experience second to none. Access to care and treatment when you need it. Innovation with medical-led cosmetics and various on-site technologies for full-service treatments with a customer experience that is calming, casual, and effective. Independently owned, providing medical, surgical, pediatric, and cosmetic dermatology and more. Visit WellSkinMD.com to schedule your appointment today. WellSkin Dermatology and Aesthetics. Access to healthier skin. Have you heard about the high levels of radon in Middle Tennessee? Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer, second only to smoking, and has no color, no taste, and no smell. The only way to know if you have radon is to test for it. Duret Radon Mitigation offers testing for small and large-scale residential and commercial properties, plus mitigation services. Visit DuretRadonMitigation.com to request testing or get a free estimate for mitigation. That's DuretRadonMitigation.com.
I want to thank the folks at Bart Durham who had confidence in the Plaster bet of the day. Watson has no confidence. Do you think I care? No. I don't. I want that out there right now. You think I'm going to bomb at this, don't you?
No. And by the way, George, this isn't white hair. That's blonde hair. You just can't see it very well through the TV screen. That's blonde hair.
Okay, so I don't know where to react on that one.
You got nowhere to go.
So, okay, you think you know where I'm going on this one, don't you? First
I'm innocent. I'm innocent. Where are you going? Let's hear it.
Where would you think I'm going?
No, I'm just an innocent bystander my man. I'm really pulling for you here.
Mm-hmm.
How could I have guessed?
That's where you think I'm going, don't you?
How could I have guessed, huh?
Uh-huh. We'll take a good look at the Plaster bet of the day.
Oh, here it comes.
Oh.
Look at that. You're changing it up on us, George.
Let me tell you why. Okay, it's 2 words. Max Scherzer. I would have given anything to go with the Braves on opening day of this show. Can't do it. Max Scherzer, Max Fried might be the best pitching duel we have all year. It's got 2-1, 1-0 written all over it. By the way, they start in about 5 minutes down at Truist Park. But the bottom line is San Fran's the play tonight. Alex Cobb, right-hander, against a pretty good pitcher for Arizona in Merrill Kelly. So, I admit that. San Fran is -160. We're going Giants, and then tomorrow we will review to see how it works before we get to the second play. Watson, do you like this pick or not like this pick?
I would go with the Braves tonight. I think they're getting Scherzer. I think you got a good pick. Yeah, I think you went the easy route. I mean, gracious sakes alive. But I think Scherzer's going to get it tonight, George. He's not been back long. Fried's been awesome. I think they're going to get him. They'll have him out of there by the 6th inning.
Isn't it important that I get off to a good start?
You're trying your best.
I mean, I'm trying to have some credibility here. And instead of taking what my heart says, I went with my head.
Oh, that's real dangerous. You better stick to your heart.
Watson, when George doesn't pick the Braves, that's our cue to pick the Braves. You know that, right?
Are you with me, Billy?
I'm with you. I'm with you tonight, Watson.
Braves will get Scherzer tonight.
I don't care what either one of you think, and I don't care what Michael thinks. Michael took a cheap shot at me at the end. Did you notice that?
That was a cheap shot.
Because he won't get him when he gets here.
No, he certainly won't. He'll learn.
He don't have a clue.
Did you notice that he shaved for his little appearance?
Yeah, he did. He looked nice. Yeah. He followed Billy. Billy looks really nice.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he's
nice. Not as good as George.
Got a nice shirt on. And looks like he's got the golden bear on his shirt there.
Yes, sir. That's for you. That's for you. That's for you, Watson.
And his hair's combed. Billy looks really nice.
The blonde hair.
What exactly are you saying with that, Watson, as opposed to what?
I'm not saying anything. I'm trying my best to be good to you down the stretch, George. It's good to see. It's good to be with you again.
It is great to be back with you.
Oh, I'm having a blast.
That's so genuine, George.
Hey, let me
Thank you, Billy. Thank you.
Let me tell you what we got on the show tomorrow. You ready?
Let's hear it.
Sean Henry will join us during the 4:00 hour. That is never dull. And then Jordan Stallings. Originally, we were going to do this today, but because of the Philip Forsberg signing, we kind of moved it back a little bit. So Jordan Stallings interviews her brother, who happens to be a major league starting catcher for the Marlins, Jacob Stallings. Very interesting interview because for Jacob, it has not always been easy. And he has played for 2 tough teams, the Pirates and the Marlins. And that's not exactly baseball heaven. That's tough. That's our show tomorrow.
Great interview. Great. Everybody's going to love that.
Yeah. We've survived it, Watson.
We have.
Back tomorrow?
I think we'll be back.
Only time will tell. You all will have to tune in. Thanks to all of you who joined us for this opening day. This thing is going to get better and better as we go along and learn some of the technology. This is totally new stuff for me. It's essentially television for a radio lifer. You've been watching The George Plaster Show on Main Street Media Television. See you tomorrow.